So today for my creative response one, I'm going to be talking about water. However, in order to talk about water properly, and why water is the most bestest thing ever, I gotta get in my babouche. So, what is water? Water is also known as H2O, and that means it has two hydrogens and one oxygen. Its molar mass is 18 grams per mole, and as you can see, my lovely wife, Mrs. Vicky Valancourt, the oxygen represents her head, and the hydrogens, ooh, well, that's one thing I love about my wife is you know what them two hydrogens are. Now, the structure of water is actually really cool. So, because the oxygen has four electron groups and it's an sp3 hybridization, the two lone pairs actually require a little bit more room. But because oxygen is so electronegative and the hydrogen is partially positive, there's electronegativity that causes a dipole. And that dipole seems like me right here when someone talk bad about my water or bad about my mama. I go in a straight line and I'm all negative. I'm ready to make a change. Now, hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bonding is from the intermolecular bonds between water molecules. This is because of the partial negative on the oxygen and the partial positive of the hydrogen. And this allows the waters to break and reform rapidly in liquids. And as you can see, the group hug in the shower. That's because we go in bonding like them waters do. Yeah. Now, water as a solvent. Whew. Ain't nothing make me more angry than whenever people talk about Gatorade. Gatorade. All I can think about is my water. And why water is better than Mr. Gatorade. That's because water is a solvent. And what it does is because of that dipole moment, and that moment and the interactions, the ions of the water are allowed to be able to interact with other ions of a salt. And so Gatorade, he gets laid flat out. You know why? Because water can dissolve Mr. Gatorade. And it also dissolves other polar molecules. Ooh, the no-go solutes. Now, when you talk about Mr. Colonel Sanders, and you're talking about all them alligators, no teeth, with no toothbrush with all them teeth, and he said it was medulla oblongata. Ooh, that just makes me angry. And that's kind of like water with hydrophobic interaction, but it's more of like a water in. And the reason for this is because the polar water will form a ring around the non-polar molecules, and this will cause the solvent and the solute to segregate. And this is very unfavorable when trying to break those hydrogen bonds, and it will cause some bilayers. And now water rings. Back to my Mrs. Vicky Valancourt. Ooh, she's my love of my life. And I got married to her on this day on a lawnmower, and I gave her my water ring. Now, cool thing about water is that water has four rings because it has four interactions with other hydrogen and oxygen molecules, aka my favorite, Mr. Water. And it makes it have a crystalline array where they all stack on top of each other like this. And this will cause the water to expand when freezing. Now, osmosis, ooh, it's my favorite part about being a water boy. You gotta go. Osmosis is the fusion of water from high concentration to low concentration. And that's what I do as water boy. I take all my high quality H2O and I give it to my teammates who starting to run low on it. And whenever this happens over that membrane, over that semi-permeable membrane, it causes an osmotic pressure. Now, some more physical properties of water is that it has a high heat of vaporization. It's 2260 kilojoules per kilogram, and it has a high boiling temperature, 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that is some hot water, and a freezing temp of 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And no, I didn't think of this all by myself, like what the commentator said. This is actually all due to the hydrogen bonding, the intermolecular forces of water. Ooh, now if we only had Gatorade. Ooh, not happy Bobby Boucher. Bobby Boucher would not be happy. If we didn't have water and all we had was Gatorade, we'd be 153 degrees Fahrenheit on this earth. And we'd have no life, no gators, no gumbo, no Vicky Valancourt, and most importantly, no football. Now, this is what water does for us on a daily basis. Water regulates our body temperature. It helps to carry nutrients in our blood, and it also helps dissolve nutrients, especially the ones who have dipole interactions and they're a little polar, you know what I'm saying? And now that is what Bobby Boucher calls some high quality H2O. Now, salt water. Ooh, salt water. Mama says that salt water is the devil because the earth is 71% water, but 97% of it is salt water, and that's not good. No. The only somewhat good thing is that it provides a lot of oxygen for us. And in conclusion, myself, the water boy, Mr. Bobby Boucher, I gotta say that water is the coolest thing ever. And without it, we would be nothing. Our body is composed of 60 to 65% water. And without it, we'd only be 40% body left. And as you can see in my lovely wife, Mrs. Vicky Valancourt, saying, want me to kill her? Oh no. If she killed off water, life would not be the same, all due to its hydrogen bonding, its physical and chemical properties, and everything with the interactions, the polarity, and the dipole interactions. What can I say? Water is the coolest thing ever. Oh, Captain Insano shows no mercy. Oh no. Just like water. Water's the best thing. And it's gonna show no mercy for nobody that don't like it. Just like me, Mr. Bobby Boucher.